Nvidia, AMD, and other semiconductor stocks seem to be having a rough day today, as all the excitement for AI is going to Palantir after reporting an amazing earnings. On today's episode, I want to do the following. I want to take a closer look at recent news impacting AMD and Nvidia, and more importantly, I also want to talk about other semiconductor markets outside of AI that I believe investors should keep an eye out. Welcome. For those not familiar, my name is Jose Najarro, and I spend way too much time reading about semiconductors and AI. But thanks to that, my education and work experience, I believe I have created the number one semiconductor podcast for investors. So let's get started with today's episode.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
All right, so let's start off with my favorite semiconductor stock right now, Nvidia. We can see the stock is down roughly 2%. And I want to say today on my comments, I've been seeing a lot of Nvidia bears come out, but we can see in the past 5 days, the stock is up nearly 11%. So it is healthy to start to see some pullbacks, right? We can't expect Nvidia to be up on a daily basis. I mean, we can hope, but we don't expect that. And I do believe Nvidia is going to be very volatile until we hear more from earnings. And today for Nvidia, I want to take a closer look at a few things. First, we did see this report that Huawei pushes for Ascend AI GPU production instead of smartphone system on chips as it battles Nvidia in China. So for those that are not familiar, right, Nvidia has been banned for sending a lot of their data center solutions to China due to United States regulations. And during those times, right now, we have a competitor, a Chinese competitor, Huawei, that is also designing their own AI solutions. So they're taking right now the time to, instead of building chips for other markets that they hit, like the smartphone business, it does seem like they're pushing mainly for the AI market. And the main reason a company would do that, obviously, is because the AI market right now has higher margins than any other industry in the semiconductor space. So obviously, they're going to try to push that. And obviously, they want to be able to grab market share from NVIDIA. Luckily for NVIDIA investors, if you really are bullish for the Chinese market, NVIDIA has been working with United States regulations to be able to design and send a chip that meets both the United States demand and also is able for NVIDIA to get some form of revenue in that market. And the H20, which is the AI chip for China, as we've discussed in the past, should be shipping at least in quarter 2. And there are some give and takes between Nvidia's chip and Huawei's chips that we keep hearing about. One of the main difference is we do know that Huawei's chip is a little bit more powerful, but Nvidia's chip is a lot faster when interconnecting with numerous GPUs. And I do believe that's a big win when it comes to kind of GPU and AI market. The other thing is Huawei, unfortunately, they can't send their chip to TSMC due to US regulations. The only kind of really big player that's able to make Huawei's chip is MIC, not Supermicro. It's a semiconductor manufacturing company in China. They do have kind of a lot of regulations and don't have all the necessary advanced tools like EUV machines. So the yield rates on those chips are a lot lower than something that TSMC can produce. So I do want to say if NVIDIA's H20 is going to the market pretty soon, I do believe they will be able to kind of gain or gain, not gain, but at least hold ground on some market share and stop the bleeding from their competitors. Now, the second kind of news I want to take a closer look at is we did see today that Cisco and NVIDIA are teaming up together, and Cisco and NVIDIA to help enterprises quickly and easily deploy and manage secure AI infrastructure. So there are a few ways that this Cisco and NVIDIA integrations are working. One of the main ways is Cisco does create their own blade servers and racks that they can sell to their customers. So obviously, the upcoming and the current NVIDIA's GPUs are going to be on Cisco's blade servers as well. So right now, NVIDIA is just trying to find as many OEM makers out there or server makers out there to be able to expand their data center solution. And obviously, increasing your data center solution infrastructure market, you're also going to increase your overall software market as well. Cisco also has a huge opportunity in market in the network side. So they're going to be able to kind of cross sell and collaborate with a lot of companies to be able to get in Cisco's kind of networking solutions, and more importantly, NVIDIA's infrastructure, hardware, and software solutions. Now, we're going to take a closer look at AMD. We can see AMD right now is down roughly 3.5%, sitting at $168. And again, very similar to AMD in the past 5 days, the stock is pretty much flat, right? So volatility in the past month or so, the stock is up nearly 15%. So seeing these pullbacks is not the worst thing, like I mentioned. And I've also talked about this in many episodes. I think in every episode, for me, for both these companies right now, in my opinion, based on my risk to reward ratio, I personally wouldn't buy big positions just to the huge volatility and uncertainty right now. To me, these are times where it's small dollar cost averaging over time. So for AMD, we actually have a pretty cool product. So they did unveil their Embedded Plus architecture, which combines their embedded processor with adaptive system on chips to accelerate time to market for edge AI applications. So this is kind of going into their embedded market, which right now is seeing a bit of an over inventory correction. And what they're going to do from here is kind of include the AI market as well to maybe drive more revenue in this segment. Now, one of the things for embedded systems is they go to automated systems. And for automated systems, you need to be working in real time operating system or real time solutions. And it's the best for things like industrial, medical applications, things that are to some extent need things to happen within milliseconds of getting the data. So they do mention this is the first kind of embedded plus architecture that combines leadership AMD x86 compute with integrated graphics and programmable hardware for critical AI inferencing and sensor fusion applications. So I do believe this is a market opportunity for them. I don't think this is a crazy product, but it's a nice way for them to increase and continue to grow in the embedded market, which is a huge cash flow for AMD. Now, kind of considering here with AMD and kind of CPU, something we've heard about from numerous earnings is that the CPU market is turning around. And we do have research from John Petty Research that reports that, hey, look, the CPU unit market reached 66 million units, up 7% quarter over quarter and up 22% year over year. Unfortunately, though, we do see that server CPU shipments increased only 2.8% from a quarter ago, but we're down 26% from last year. So we are seeing that weakness and over inventory correction in the CPU server market, something we've discussed a lot about. And remember, we're seeing that wallet shift set spending going more to GPU accelerators opposed to CPUs right now. And this is just kind of reiterating what we've heard about in previous earnings calls. Now, I want to take a closer look at some other markets, right? Obviously, we care about NVIDIA and AMD, but the semiconductor market, in my opinion, has other industries that investors should kind of be familiar with. We do see this report that AI is rocketing demand for driver server DRAM, and 2024 prediction shows a 17.3% annual increase in content per box. So one thing that we are seeing here is thanks to AI servers, thanks to AI solutions, we need to increase the amount of memory because that helps with training and inferencing, and the list goes on and on. So we are seeing a nice growth in 2024. So something investors should kind of be familiar with, as there are a few memory companies that can benefit from this. Now, the final thing I want to take a closer look at is at a company that just reported earnings, something that's not covered too much, but again, this is an industry that I do believe investors should keep an eye out. So on Semiconductor, ticker ON, just reported earnings. We can see from its 52-week high, the stock is down nearly 28%. And On, for those that are not familiar, focuses on creating semiconductor solutions for the automotive industry. And right now, the automotive industry is seeing over inventory correction and also slow in demand due to things like high interest rates. And obviously, this is kind of creating an over inventory correction and a lot of pressure on these companies, very similar to how we saw Nvidia and AMD in kind of late and mid 2022 when stock prices took a huge dive due to over inventory correction. Well, the company that just reported earnings. Their total revenue for the quarter was down 7% sequentially, down 4% quarter over quarter. And on a year over year basis, it was down 1%. And some of you might be saying, Jose, why are you talking about such a boring company? Well, I do believe right now the opportunity for the automotive industry is kind of here to some extent. Obviously, we can continue to see more headwinds here due to high interest rates, due to lower demand of cars. But these automotive companies, in my opinion, are starting to sit at attractive levels where investors in the semiconductor space should definitely keep a closer eye on. I mean, if we look at PE ratios forward 1 year, it's expected to drop down to 14.8. By the end of this year, it's expected to jump up a little bit to 17.4. But again, we are seeing kind of that weakness in the space at the moment. But even with that weakness, the stock is still very, very, in my opinion, valued attractive. So, just something I wanted to bring up. I know we always talk about Nvidia and AMD, and I do believe this is what I'm going to do in every episode from now on. Maybe just kind of bring something outside of just AI so investors could just kind of familiarize themselves with the overall semiconductor market. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that last segment. Let me know in the comments below. Take care, have a good day, and see you next time.